Hello everyone, this is Boricua Binks and welcome to Let's Play 999. In the last episode, unfortunately I had to cut it off pretty abruptly, but yeah, we had finished the puzzle in the cargo room after getting the Pushmaster at 5000 to push it real good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming next. I believe we were traveling down a long hallway. So yeah, excuse me. I might have to cough a lot in between in this episode, but I'm sorry about that. Can't control it. Okay. Set in the wall in front of him was a door. So far as Junpei could see, there was no other way to proceed. It was the door or nothing. All right, let's open it. Junpei took a deep breath, readied himself, then grabbed the doorknob and pulled the door open. He paused for a moment, then stepped through into the room. It's so eerily quiet, I kind of feel like awkward. I don't know why it's so quiet. There's no background music or anything. It's really creeping me out. And there he saw the number that had hung over their heads since they'd woken up. Which number? 9, of course. There it is. We've seen this before. Like the numbers on every other door, this one too was a rough shape made of red paint. We know this because of the coffin ending. Its door was set into the back wall of the room. Junpei leapt toward it with a sudden burst of hopeful energy. It was a large double door, heavy and full of solemn importance. He grabbed hold of the door handle and shook. Nothing, but he hadn't expected it to open. Of course not. Not that simple. The red sat on the wall next to the door. Its screen read vacant. Finally, they'd found it. Junpei felt himself overwhelmed by a torrent of emotion. At last, they'd found the exit, but cold gripped his heart and he knew all too well why. As he stood frozen, unsure of what to think or feel, because of course he's thinking we have to leave people behind. Junpei, look! Behind you! He spun around and couldn't believe what he saw. We know what he saw. It was a door with the number 9 written across it. Was there a second door? Looks like it, buddy. Why? Junpei's voice was barely audible, even to himself. He stumbled towards the second door as if somehow compelled. It was a small single door. It sat in the starboard corner of the room, on the same wall as the door they'd entered from, but in the opposite corner. 9. There was no mistaking it. A red sat on the wall next to this door as well. Junpei shook the door handle pointlessly and muttered to himself. Why? Why the hell are there 2 doors? It was Santa who answered. There were always 2 doors. Just think about it. Yep. Zero never said there is only 1 door with 9 on it. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9. Yep. A door. Of course, we just assumed that there was only 1. After all, why would there be more than 1? Oh man. Jeez. Junpei was stunned. Zero's trick had taken him completely by surprise. There were 2 doors. That meant that all 9 people who had met at the central staircase could escape and leave no one behind. Man, this is brutal. Now, the reason for the bracelet numbers being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 was clear. Divided in 2, the digital root for both teams would be 9. For instance, 1, 2, 7, 8 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, the digital root would be 9. Man. Everybody could have made it out. Or 2, 3, 4, 9 and 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, the digital root would also be 9. So sad. There were many other workable combinations, but they all ended the same way, with a digital root of 9. What did that mean? The answer was quite simple. From the very beginning, the nonary game was designed to save all 9 people. I have such mixed feelings about this, man. Really. And at the end of the game, I'll have to discuss this more. Zero hadn't been lying. Zero had never said there was only 1 door. But anyone who'd found themselves in the game would have assumed that was the case. Fights would have broken out. We've seen plenty of that. One team would likely betray or deceive the other. Someone might be hurt. Someone might get killed. Someone has been killed. But eventually, they would reach the room Junpei now found himself in and realize the pointlessness of whatever violence they'd visited upon each other. Really interesting. I really like this game. It's so deep, like really, really deep. It's more than just like a murder mystery or whatever. There were 2 doors. No need to kill each other. They'd understand and be appalled, overwhelmed with guilt at what they'd done. Unless they're a total psycho or a sociopath who doesn't care. Perhaps that was the purpose of the game. It's a messed up purpose. That was how the nonary game was meant to be played. Fortunately, they hadn't started to fight one another, at least not yet. You forgot about the 9th man? But if one misstep was made, if the wrong mistakes happened, the stakes would rise and the noose would tighten. The thought of it sent a chill down his spine. And how about Snake? Well, we know Snake's alive, but someone tried to kill him. So, what are we gonna do, Junpei? A voice broke through Junpei's frantic thoughts. Santa's voice. And he ain't saying ho ho ho. Sorry. It brought Junpei back to his senses. No use worrying about the future. He needed to figure out what they were going to do next. There were 4 people in the room. Ace, Santa, Junpei, and June. Their bracelet numbers were 1, 3, 5, and 6. That does not equal 9. No. Because they just got through door 6, so. In other words, the 4 of them couldn't open a door with the number 9. They would need another 3 more. Unless they took away one of them. But what if there were only 3? Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. It actually could work. Could door 9 be opened with 3 of them? It took him no time at all to determine the answer. There was only one combination of 3 people that would give a digital root of 9. That would leave June out. That would mean... No! We gotta go back. That wasn't a possibility he was willing to consider. So if it wasn't June, I wonder, would he have said the same thing? Santa and Ace agreed. Yep. I agree. We cannot leave June behind. That is the right thing to do. Junpei let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Because honestly, I feel like Junpei's very selfish when it comes to June, so I'm not sure what he would have done if it wasn't her who would get left behind. I'd like to say that he would, be a nice guy and not do the wrong thing, but I don't know, man. Especially after seeing, like, Zero Time Dilemma, a lot of his choices. I don't know. Are you sure? I don't mind staying. Girl? June's body betrayed her true feelings. Don't be self-sacrificing like that. Excuse me. Her eyes were wet with the beginnings of tears, and her legs shook. It's okay. There's no way we'd leave you behind. Dude, do you have a crush on her? That's what it seems like most of the time. Santa had said what Junpei had known the moment he realized which three people could go through the door. It should have been you to say that, Junpei. Besides, I'd rather drown at the bottom of the ocean than escape with this sausage fest. Really? Really, dude? Instead of being nice and all lovey-dovey, he says this. Maybe I'll get to go to Atlanta. Atlanta, Georgia? Is that what you're talking about? Are you sure you don't mean Atlantis? There we go. Yeah, the underwater city makes much more sense than Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, right. Yeah, he's a dork. I can't believe him. Perhaps it was the sudden reassurance that no one wanted to leave June behind, but Junpei laughed harder than he had in some time. I can't believe it. Santa and Ace smiled. You guys. June blinked tears from her eyes and bit her lip. She didn't seem to know what else to say. Very well, best we head back to C deck then. We should be able to take the elevator we passed earlier. Perhaps Clover 7 and Lotus will have returned from door 1. Even as Ace spoke, they knew finding the others wouldn't improve the situation. There was no way they could be split into teams that could both go through the doors. Ace knew it. They all knew it. But there was nothing else they could do. They would find the other three and search for another solution. All right, let's go. Ace looked at all three of them, then turned and headed through the door. Santa and June followed. Junpei started toward the door, then stopped. Yeah, he didn't even look around the room. He'd been too busy with other concerns to notice the room itself. It didn't seem terribly important now, but what exactly was it? Junpei looked around the room, for the first time noticing the things that weren't doors with 9 on them. A red carpet ran between 2 columns of wooden benches that ran the length of the room. And at the end of that carpet, the carpet began at a large set of double doors and ran toward the bow, toward... Junpei wasn't sure. Was it an altar, perhaps? Dude, it looks like a coffin. There was a small rectangular alcove at the end of the carpet, and inside the alcove was a raised platform. Looks creepy. Resting on top of the platform was a coffin. Who's inside? A coffin. A coffin. What on earth was a coffin doing in a place like that? That's the second coffin we've seen, dude. But before Junpei had time to answer that question... Hey, Junpei! The hell are you doing? Let's move! Santa's voice echoed in from the hall outside. Right. Okay. Dang it! I'll be right there. Junpei turned on his heel and left the quiet, somber room. No! Go back! I need to know what's in the coffin. Not that we can open it. I still don't know the combination or whatever. Wait. Oh no, he's knocking! Whoever's in there. Is it Alice? They're knocking! Ah! So curious. They took the elevator up to C deck. Once there, they headed back toward the main hall and the central staircase. It didn't take them long. Junpei found Seven and Lotus waiting for them. Okay. They didn't look happy. Uh-oh. What's up? We've got a problem. Oh no. Clover is gone. What? Come on, Clover! We were about to escape. Junpei and his three companions looked at one another. He turned back to Seven and Lotus. This is BS. What do you mean, gone? Wait, which room did they go to? I forgot. Santa, Ace, and June had their own questions to ask. When? Why? You two went into door 1 with Clover, didn't you? Ah, door 1. The captain's quarters. Seven and Lotus responded as best they could. Yeah, we went through the door together. But Clover barely spoke to us. She just did her own thing the whole time. Huh, that's not good. There were 4 rooms on the other side of door 1. She wouldn't let us into the 4th room. The one with a dead old man, maybe? She just said, I'll take care of this one. And shut the door. She must have blocked it with something on the other side. Oh, the chair. We waited for a while, but Clover didn't come out. We called for her, but she didn't answer. So I kicked down the door and we went into the room. But... it was empty. But how did she get out? Clover wasn't there. How did they solve the puzzle? I'm so confused. How does that work? Wait, would she have been able to solve the puzzle on her own in that room? Maybe. I guess. There was a door on the other wall. Excuse me. I'm trying to remember the layout of door, behind door 1. And it was open. We figure she opened the door and left by herself. How is that possible? I can't remember. I don't know. Feels like it was a long time ago. We ran after her, of course, but... well, obviously, we didn't find her. You figured that much out. Clover's gone. Junpei thought for a moment. When did this happen? We got here just before you. You certainly have excellent timing. So, you haven't searched anywhere other than near the staircase? No, we haven't. Finally, Ace spoke. His voice had an edge of resolve and concern. Very well then, we'd best separate and look for Clover. We haven't much time left. Let's begin. We haven't even been able to tell them the good news. There were quick nods all around, and the 6 remaining players spread out. Darn it, Clover. Screwing up everything. Junpei and June ran into the central hospital room and looked around. She's not here.
No, she isn't.
They searched a little longer, but with no luck. They couldn't find Clover. Finally, they gave up and left the central hospital room. I'll keep going a little bit. Slowly, they made their way back to the hallway. At last, they reached the stairs and Junpei spoke. All right, I'm thinking we should probably split up. I'll head back to the stairs and take the elevator down to E deck. June, you can take the stairs up to B deck.
All right. That sounds good. But,
What?
could you stop calling me by that code name when we're alone?
Oh. Huh? Oh, sure, right. I'll do that. There was a reason Junpei persisted in calling her June even when they were alone. Although perhaps not the best reason. He was embarrassed to call her by the nickname he'd used when they were children. Aw. Kanny. She calls him Junpei, come on now. 9 years ago it came naturally. After all, they were children. But now that they were adults, it felt strange. Regardless of what he might hope for, to call a woman he wasn't dating by such a childish nickname felt odd to him. Of course, to call her Miss Kurashiki would be even more awkward, and simply Kurashiki would seem a little brusque. He's overthinking things, honestly. And although he couldn't put his finger on why, it felt somewhat forward to call her Akane when they hadn't seen one another for so long. Dude, seriously? In short, it was simply easier for him to call her June and leave it at that.
All right, I'm going then.
Yeah. Be careful. Connie. June, or perhaps more appropriately Connie, blushed and smiled. Aw, how cute.
You be careful too, Junpei.
Yeah. Got it. Take care. Junpei looked after her for a moment as she ran upstairs, then turned around and took off for the hallway. You guys had to make time for a little romance. Okay, we gotta find Clover so we can all get out of here. I really don't remember what ending this is. Uh-oh. Tragedy always strikes when one least expects it. No! Oh gosh, no. Alright guys, that's it for today. Until next time, hope you have a nice day. Hope you've enjoyed this. Bye-bye.